Hey, welcome back to the table. Let's get crack-a-lackin' here. So I was looking at the feedback. Obviously, apparently in the first video, I was struggling with what the word support means. It cracks me up because this far into the game, I absolutely know what support means. But it's funny because there's like dozens of you trying to clarify the same thing. And I appreciate it because I did ask and I always want that. But I don't think we need 20 comments all saying the same thing. But I guess if I cared about my likes and subscribes, that helps me with my revenue. I don't know if you guys know this, but saying controversial things or upsetting the viewer to cause them to comment actually increases your revenue. Because the more comments there are, the more chat there is, the more advertisers know that someone's there to watch their ad. It's a crazy thing, and I think there's a mindset in the YouTuber world where they do that on purpose, especially the CBSs and MSNBCs, those people, and it's what causes the news agencies to become more like a tabloid. And so, anyways, I don't try, trust me, I didn't know what support meant, I guess, at the time, because I really didn't know. Not because I'm trying to generate all these comments. My only thing about this game that I am very leery about is the dang move instructions. And so, well, let me cover the feedback first, and then I'm going to jump into the move instruction. The other feedback was generally positive, and so thank you. I really appreciate that. And also, I think there were a few spots where I missed something here or I boneheaded something there, but it wasn't egregious. Several of you did pick up that I was really confused about the whole profit thing with the terraforming bases. I mean, I fully have that vetted out now, but yes, there are a few videos where I don't have that right. So yeah, those comments are trickling in. Some of the YouTubers who received early copies of the game and only did unboxing videos wrote me to tell me how hard it is to do videos and that it takes a lot of time to prepare and to do a playthrough of this. And I was like, oh, really? We're on the third dust storm. All my videos are already uploaded. I own the game I'm on day 4. And one of those days I didn't game because I gamed with my buddies. So they got their game 40 days ago. I'm just going to leave that there. You guys can take it for what it is. Other YouTubers are quite hostile. I've had to block a few. Do you want cheese with your wine? Those kind of comments, because they think that that's funny. All I had was feedback. I don't care that a YouTuber wanted to do an unboxing video. I just think that GMT should cut him off. And that's the thing. I'm not even trying to convince those YouTubers that they should do better. I just think that they should not get early copies. You can do all the unboxing videos you want, alongside the rest of us who got this game late. But with that said, this is a good game, and I don't mean to create a huge controversy about it. I just think that because it's a good game, the people who get advanced copies should do it justice. So now that gets to my last part, the move. I spent 2 hours this morning trying to read the play-by-play examples of how to do a move for a non-player character. And I kid you not, there's a spot in the non-player character rulebook. I'm going to show it to you. Each NP faction has additional instructions for how to redeploy. We will not review these in detail here. We will not review these in detail here. So I have no example. I mean, it does tell me what they would do in this particular scenario, but it doesn't help me at all. So what's the issue with the move command? I mean, we have very clear instructions that so let me get it out. We use this move priorities. So this is selecting an origin space, like which forces do we have to keep in the original space? And then which forces do we move? How many do we move to the destination? So the only thing that going through all of this revealed to me, well, let me back up. What's the problem? The problem is choosing the from and the to, when you're moving troops. The action itself is in the multiplayer human versus human rulebook. Then you have to take, potentially these cards, which will give you criteria, like, only do this where this is this. Okay, and then you have this move priorities, right, which has a bunch of bubbles. Sometimes it gets to the point, well, which one takes precedence over the other? Because you have like all these conflicting priorities. And yeah, so here's the thing with the Gandhi game. There was one bubble sheet, okay? Bubbles just like this. And you started at the top, and that was your priority. And it was undisputed priority. This particular game has multiple bubble sheets that conflict with each other, and I don't know which one is priority over the other. That is my largest dilemma with this game. And since some of the instructions are in the human versus human, which of those instructions do I follow versus which ones don't apply, because now I have AI rules that trump it. And I know the common sense thing is well, it should be obvious. And that's my problem, is it's not. Here's one thing I can help you with, because it is the one thing I garnished out of spending these couple hours trying to see if the developer gave us an example that I can use to assist me with understanding this move function. And it's this. So the bubble sheets for each faction, there is a march destination here. So that's specific to the march command, but it really can be used for any command. This is for determining where do they want to go. So you can see here, like, select forces to keep in origin, right? We can go through this bubble sheet for the red faction and then decide, okay, these are all the forces that are going to stay where they are. And I'm talking about the redeploy step at the dust storm that we just did last night. So then, okay, now I have, let's say I have 7 troops that can move somewhere. Where are they going to go? This march destination, I think, is the answer. So we would do this to find a destination. And then this section here will tell us how many move to that destination. Then we go back here and we go back down the order again. We find the next destination. We go here and how many move. And we do that until we run out of units. So that is a little cleaner than going over, beep, 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 down this thing. So that's one thing that I think will help us. The place rebels is what I think we were doing. And I think the march destination might be better. And where am I getting that from? This march destination. Well, actually, so that's the part that gets hard. But so the march destination, I did get that actually from the section that told me we're not going to get into the details. It's like, what's the point then if you're not going to get into the details? So here. NPRD, and this is for the dust storm phase, uses the move priority table for the march. First selecting a destination using march destination column of their space priorities table, then using move priorities table to select an origin and determine which pieces to move. And this is during the reset phase. See, this is all under reset phase. So it's trying to tell us that that they will do march destination instead of place rebels. And here's the part that drives me nuts. So that's what the rule book says, right? Now come over here to redeploy, which is use place rebels. Now, you could argue reset is a different phase. And so one's telling us to do something during redeploy, the other's telling us to do something during the reset phase. But let me just tell you something. Reset phase doesn't have the march command. There's no moving troops. There's nothing here. So the AI rulebook is telling us to do the march command for the RD during the reset phase. There is no march. There's no movement. There's nothing. The movement occurs up here in the redeploy phase, which this says to use place rebels, and that says to use march destination. So why am I confused? I mean, they were confused. The people who made this. They're literally referencing a reset phase that doesn't do any of these things. Okay, I see. My mistake in this, although I still think it's bad on their part. The reset phase is bold, but right here it says the example of play is now complete. And then it says, here's a few additional points to keep in mind. So these are just random thoughts at the end. So if we do the march command, sure, we use march destination. So they're asking us to place rebels. Again, I just don't, I don't particularly care for how discontinuous these commands are. A move command that is in one location with all the things I need to know to implement the move is necessary. Not just for me, I think for anybody who's trying to get into this game. And I understand the disclaimer, because even 3 Minute Board Game, who's the designer, he's like, this game's not for everybody. It's heavy. Well, sometimes a game's heavy because you make it heavy. I just don't think this needed to be this heavy. I don't think the move command needed to be this complicated. I think it could have been simplified. And it's not that, I don't think we need to change a single logic point. It's just put it all together so you're not piecing it from different spots of the rulebook. The thing that I always find interesting is there's always some goober out there in internet land. You complain about something. And you complain because you don't understand something. And in a way, it's the way a toddler complains, right? Oh, I'm hungry, I am bored, I have nothing to do. And of course a parent can get annoyed because they do it all the time and they have plenty of toys laying all around them, right? I get that. And so then on the internet, there's people who will get cynical and mean to respond to people who do that. But at the end of the day, the person's just asking for some help. And this is one of those things where there's always some goober out there that will tell you, this was easy. I was able to figure it out. And it's like that's their only achievement they ever accomplished in their life is they were able to figure this out. And so they're going to make sure everybody else knows how dumb they are. There was like this superiority complex that comes out of, I was able to figure it out, so I don't know why you can't figure it out. That's the thing, is that's not helpful. first of all. And secondly, it's arrogant. And third, I think you need a therapist. You know, all those things. Because just because something was easy for you, so what? The thing with this is, you know, maybe some people won't struggle as much with the move command as I will. I'm hoping that this video helped. But I seriously wanted to become the master of the move command before I started this final thrust. And I'm sitting here before you. I am unable to definitively tell you how the move command works. The rulebook does not resolve the conflicting priorities of a move command. Yes, this says use place rebels. We'll use this example. Within each numbered instruction, use place rebels. So within this instruction, get one to each space with an RD base. Then I have to use place rebels. Well, which is the priority? Put one here or to put one there? Because this is going to tell me to put the rebel somewhere that's not here. So within each numbered instruction. So does that mean this is the priority? So I got to get one rebel to each space with a base. That's how I did this, by the way. Get 3 to each space with room for an available RD base. What if I don't have 3? Hell if I know. They don't know either. They didn't tell me. So if I don't have 3, do I place rebels using this? Or do I put 3 using that? Each space with room available for a base. So that means every space on the board that doesn't have 2 bases is fair game, which is what I did. That's the Cheaty McCheaterson part. So I did that, and then you saw me. And here, I can show you. We just finished this phase. There's 3. There's 3. There's 3. There's 3. And I did that using place rebels because the place rebels priority is where there's population. And it also had to do with there was a reason this one didn't get selected. Oh, because the population's only 1. That's right, this population's 2. So this took the priority and it got the 3 instead of that one. So I think I did it right, but I just don't know. And I think, you know, my takeaway from this is I did it good enough. Because I do look at the situation and where they place the rebels, and that is effective for them. They are going to be able to cause some damage with all the places they went. The fact that one space is actually literally damaged made them go to the desert instead of there, but that, you know, outside of that, I mean, this is a place where they can place bases, which is what their priority was. So, anyways, enough of that. Let's play. This is a good game. I want to stress that. I'm just really annoyed with the move action. I sold my Gandhi game because I was like, I like it, but I don't like the whole theme of it. I'm not into most of it. I don't like playing as the Muslim characters at all in that one. The whole peace going to jail thing was a little silly because it was supposed to be peaceful conflict. It's still removing cubes, so I didn't care for the theme that much. But I will tell you that the AI for that one was smooth. I never, ever struggled with figuring out where the troops needed to move to. This one, horrible. Pendragon was tough. Because if you play as the Kivitatis or the Duke in Pendragon, it's brutal. Especially the blue Kivitatis. Because they need to move their cavalry, and with the Duke, they're moving their cavalry. The Britons are trying to defend certain areas, and it uses those nasty flowcharts. But here's the one thing about a flowchart that was beautiful: it starts here and it ends there, and you go in order. There's no ambiguity in terms of where the priority is. When you got these bubble charts now, which I love the bubble charts. But now there's conflicting bubble charts. And that's the part that's driving me nuts. Is like, okay, there's no flow chart. You move to the bubble charts, but now you just made 4 of them, and now I need to merge them all together and know which one's priority over the other. No, not working. It's ambiguous. That's the part. There should be no room for ambiguity when it comes to this stuff. So, Pendragon though is a struggle, and when I play Pendragon, I only have AI for the barbarians. Why? Because the flowcharts are so much simpler. It's very clear where they want to attack and what they want to do, and so I play as the Britons, almost exclusively because it just, I can control where they're moving and what to do without this giant big if then else statement. But like I said, Gandhi, for all the reasons I sold it, I did admire how wonderful that AI system was. And I loved it so much, I was like, man, I can't wait for Pendragon to get this. And then, they did it for Vietnam. I actually own that one, the Trang solo set. I've never played it though. So I can't give you any feedback on whether that's any better. Okay, let's get going. Here's our card. As you can see, we do go first, but yellow is going to get a shot at taking it from us, and they're very likely going to succeed here. So it's a 5-2-2. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All three of them match, so he's going to spend 3 to go first. So he's going to bump ahead of us. All right, so what's yellow going to do? Is the current event critical? Nope, they got a big negatory on that one. Now they're going to check for their critical asset. So here's what's crazy. They spent 3 of them, and now they're only going to draw 2 cards. Here's the 2 they're drawing. They do get an event, but it's not critical. That one gets discarded. So it's just this one. It's not a critical event. There's no star. Become a real child of Mars. Replace 4 rebels with RD rebels with CR rebels. So is this effective for them? So if we look at the effective events section, so anything that adds CR forces and removes enemy forces is effective. So they're going to do the event. Okay, so they're going to replace 4 RD rebels with CR rebels. Which 4? That's a great question. Right here, remove or replace. They want a CR base with no hidden rebel. Not a problem. A vulnerable enemy base. That one would be vulnerable, and so would that one. So they could replace this one, and they can replace this one, so now they're positioned to remove bases, which is something they really do want to do. So then that's 2. The next one is no CR control, which of course those were excellent for. I don't see anything else yet that's jumping out at me. They only get to put 2 more out, by the way. Most bases, well, we got those covered still. Most bases would be one of these. So we're going to take that out. So we have, this one only has 1, and this one only has 1, but there's other troops. I don't know. They only get to place the RD ones. It's not a vulnerable base, but it is the most, oh, there's bases here, but there's no RD troops. So yeah, the most bases is one of these two spots, and they only have 2 left. And it just so happens RD only has 2. So I think we're gonna call it a wrap. The RD loses their rebels and gets replaced with the CR rebels. Now you could argue that the Raging Storm doesn't allow them to do anything here, except the Raging Storm in a Labyrinth only prevents a move action. And this was a replace, which sort of falls into the nebulous category, but we're gonna go ahead and do it. Okay, so they're done. So then it gets to us. Well, since they took the event, we do get a full action and special activity that we get to do. And I'm going to go ahead and take it. Now, what am I going to do? That's a great question. We should probably do something that helps us to expose all the rebels inside of the labyrinth in particular, because that's where all of our points are. So I want to do a secure action, and then we're going to do a transport. You can see 2 or more spaces. And if you're the EG controller, 2 additional spaces. So basically, Phobos and any space with a base and 1 additional space, right? And then EG will let us go to 2 more spaces. And we have this here. So when we do a recon, we can do navigation beacons to any desert with a raging storm to select it, or to any desert without a storm to activate 2 additional rebels there. So that's for recon. That's right, I'm not doing recon, I'm doing secure. Is there anything going to help with secure? No. Oh, here, go drop pods. Move a satellite from orbit to any labyrinth, even with damage or a raging storm, to move Earth Gov troops there directly from Phobos. That's the secure action. All right, so very, very cool. So let's do secure. So what this does is this lets me move MG troops, only MG, to destination labyrinths from adjacent spaces. Maglev lines, etc., etc. They must stop when reaching enemy control. Activate 1 rebel for each MG troop. And then, of course, we can make a base, which we're not going to do. And then we may house or repair in 1 destination, but that's not possible at the moment. So we're going to do that. And then, of course, we might do a drop satellite thing. As far as moving goes, I don't need to move. I have my troops exactly where I want them to be in every place except for this Raging Storm place, which is right here. So what I'm going to do is I am going to use a satellite and do the that drop action. Now that satellite means it can be attacked when it goes there. And then it's going to let me move troops. So I'm going to move 5 of them into Gandhi. Okay, and then what that's going to let me do is every troop that goes there, there's only 1 rebel, so I'll activate the 1 rebel. And it says to move the Earth Gov troops directly there from Phobos. And then here, I'm activating this rebel. So that's 3. I don't know if that cost me any money. I'm going to assume yes. So that's 6. This is 9. 12. 15. 18. And I happen to have 19 bucks, so that puts me all the way down to 1. So everybody's exposed. We're setting up for another assault action. And then I'm going to do, like I said, I'm going to do the transport. And I am going to transport these troops here. And I can do several locations. I'm going to put 4 of them here. I'm going to put a whole bunch of them here. Put 5 there. And then I get to do one more location with this. And the problem is if they activate, they can do damage and hurt the population and quite a few things. Oh, this is exposed too. I'm going to put 2 troops there. And in fact, I'm going to take 2 of these away and put them there. So we transported our troops around, and we finally got all those troops off of Phobos. I think for a first round, that's a great move. We get strong presence everywhere, and now we just need to wait for an Alderaan cycle to get some population to show up. Then we can do some damage and maybe some assaulting along the way. All right, so we are done. We move over. The card goes away. The next one that comes out is Spaceport Strikes. And the new card has a 1. So we move Flashpoint to 1. So this new card is critical for me and Orange. Shift any 2 deserts 2 levels towards active opposition. Increase profits by 1 for each court base in a desert. Why would I want to do that? Reduce profits by 6 and remove up to 2 court bases from any deserts. It has a big star on there for me. I think they made a mistake. I think that should be a corporate one. But anyways, they're saying that it's critical for me. This one is not critical for anybody. So, who's first? Red is first, and then the corporation. So let's go through. So current event is critical and effective. No. Current event is critical for second eligible faction. No. Next event is critical for them, and they will be first if they pass. The answer is yes. Yeah, it is yes. So what do they do in that case? They're passing. Interesting. All right, so red will pass. So now the corporations go. Same questions. It's not critical. The next one's not critical. There is no second eligible. They're going to do an up plus SA. So full-blown action for them. All right, let's see what they do. This one needs to flip back over. Two D6 less than or equal to available security. I rolled an 8. There is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 security. So the answer is no. Any non-terraforming court bases in a desert? No. At least 2 populated spaces with corp base. Corp forces greater than MG forces. And no damage. So there's only one. That one right there. This has bases, but their forces don't outnumber the MG forces. Same with here. So the answer is no. New card. We're really flying through these cards now. Any available corp bases? Yes. Assault could remove an enemy base or 2 or more rebels in one space. Yes, absolutely. In fact, they got a lot of spaces, especially here and up there in Cordoba. Okay, so they're going to assault to remove rebel bases. So let's look at the assault action. So any space with corp and enemy forces, activate a spec ops. They may activate a spec ops. Remove 1 active enemy force per coin unit. Bases are last. In labyrinths with a friendly dug-in base, in labyrinths or with friendly dug-in base, they get a free attack back. And then the EG controller can suppress a bombard, which they're not. So they want to remove bases. That's their top priority here. And it doesn't... So let's start with that one. So if they activate it here, they can activate their spec ops. There's 3 of them. They have 1 security. Well, technically they don't even need to attack orange. They can just go straight for these 2 and eliminate the 2 bases. So they only need 2, but they can also take out orange. So this is a candidate. Is it the top one? I don't know. Then the Raging Storm, they can also do. Similar outcome. So another candidate. And then up there, they have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm assuming this lone straggler was supposed to be up here and not in the middle of a desert. It's a 3rd candidate, but I don't think it's as good. So let's look at their bubble charts. Who would they pick? Remove or replace. Is there a rebel at a corp base? No. Actually, there is. So this is where it gets crazy, because it says remove bases, right? This is that conflicting thing. Assault to remove rebel bases, and the first thing in the remove or replace bubble sheet is rebel at corp base. So a rebel at corp base is telling us Shanzhou is where they want to assault. Actually, they don't have any troops there, so okay. But if they did, that would have been the priority and not this. So let's keep going. Corp base with 0 to 3. So I think what you have to do is, this is the cardinal rule, and you're going through the bubble sheet and just ignoring anything that doesn't take us to a rebel base. I think that's what it is. And you're using the bubble sheet to narrow down these 3 locations that we said are more or less tied. Although I think it's these 2 that we're... So I'm just using the bubble sheets to resolve which of these 2 we're going to do. Conversion center, most population. They both have 4. Rebel base, of course, that's why we're there. Fewest rebel forces, they're both identical. And it says random. So 1 to 3 is the top one. So they're going to do this one right here. So we're going to activate to destroy. This one destroys, and they're going to activate this one to destroy that. So 2 bases gone, and a church gone as well. Now this actually helps the church to win the game. And yes, RD control. or this is going to be coin control here as well. Well, I mean, there's no limit to the number of spaces. So now they're going to assault this one, and they're going to do the same thing. So here's 2. They're going to destroy 2 more bases. And they're going to destroy this troop. So that one's done. Then, yeah, this one, I don't think they can remove a base. They have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. They can do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, they can destroy a base. So there's 6 right there. And then this is destroyed. And that causes their bases to go down by 1. And they lose CR control, which makes them go down another 1. Okay. I think that's the extent of what they can attack. They don't have any troops anywhere else. Okay, so then select one special activity. They're going to exploit or raid. Exploit up to 2 spaces with a corp base, no damage, and more corp forces than MG forces. They can increase profits. They only have 1 space that qualifies. That other space they have bases, but they don't have more forces. So only 1 out of 2 would work for exploit. So let's look at raid. This says 2 spaces, move in up to 2 hidden spec ops from adjacent spaces. They can activate 1 to remove an EG troop or any 2 other forces. Set EG to minus if any coin pieces are removed. Now they could raid us here, the EG troops. That is for certain. But what good does that do them? I mean, it does set EG to minus. It does show the exploit is higher priority than the raid. And right here, it says to remove rebel forces, not EG. So the raid would be move adjacent to remove rebel forces. And I actually think they are going to do the raid, and here's why. So it says move in up to 2 hidden spec ops from adjacent spaces, then activate 1 hidden spec ops to remove 1 EG or 2 other forces. They have a spec ops here. They can move along the line and then come here to help defend their bases, which is their priority. They can activate this to destroy 2 other forces, 1, 2, like that. I think that's a brilliant move. I mean, that's exactly what the AI wants them to do. So corporations are doing more in 1 turn than they did the entire second dust storm phase. But, you know, it helps when the troops are distributed and the right card's coming up. Okay. That brings us to the end of the round. So he moves the ineligible. These 2 come back. And this is the card that's currently out there. This is the new card, 0, on the flashpoint. This is not helping us, by the way. We need the population to come back, but that's okay. And so with this card being the current card, red does go first. Now yellow only has 2. So yellow could roll to go above. Let's roll. So one of these would allow them to bump 1 space. And in that case, yellow will do it because it'll bump ahead of me and I'm going to get bumped out. I won't get to do an action this round. So they're going to spend 1. And so red goes first. So we're going to look at the the criteria here for red, and it's critical. I'm assuming it's also effective. It's number 15. So for the Red Dust Rebellion for 15, they are going to perform the unshaded one. It specifically says it on the sheet here, which is very interesting. Number 15, perform the unshaded effect. So they will do it, the event. They're going to shift any two deserts 2 levels towards active opposition, increase profits by 1 for each corp base in a desert. So profit goes up by 1 for the corp. And then they got to do 2 shifts here. And this is just a bubble thing. So for red, shifting towards active opposition is anywhere that's not at active opposition. Okay, that's just about everywhere. Most population. So this is where we gotta, like this one right here. And it's 2 levels that the shift happens. So this is a shift to active opposition, which gives them 4 points. 1, 2, 3, 4. This one's already there. Everywhere else you see, there's just 1 population, right? So we're still tied on all the other desert ones. So we're gonna keep going. Anywhere that has the most support. So this one is as good as any. So this is gonna shift twice. So then it's gonna become passive opposition. So we go down by 1 and they go up by 1. All right, so that's the event card. Next up is orange, and they're gonna do very likely a full, the next card is not a critical for them. So they'll do a full action, pretty sure. Yeah, so the first eligible chose the event, they're gonna do the Op plus SA. So let's get to it. So now we're going to be with the corporation again, fighting for actions. I knew fighting with orange was going to be a problem because orange is always going to trump you. Any CR base in a space with no hidden rebel. No. New card. Orange is actually hurting right now, although they're close to winning the game. Any available? Yes. 2d6 less than, I don't even need to roll. Yes. Okay, place bases where there's 3 or more rebels and 1 hidden rebel. That doesn't exist anywhere. Alternate placing rebels and upgrading bases. So let's get out the bubble sheet and place rebels first. So they want to go to a CR base with no hidden rebel, a vulnerable enemy base. And remember, it has to be somewhere neutral, because that's what rally does. Yeah, it has to be somewhere neutral. So is there a vulnerable enemy base anywhere neutral? Yeah, actually, right there. But they're not neutral. So we got to back up. There's no vulnerable enemy bases, so let's keep going. Most bases. That would be there, but it's not neutral. Here, but it's not neutral. If we're looking at the neutral ones, there's no neutral space with a base. anywhere. So let's keep going. Most support. Well, it can't do that because it's got to be neutral. Keep going. Fewest enemy forces, and then most population. Hopefully this will help us narrow it down. So in terms of like neutral spaces, there's not that many, right? We have, I mean, let's mark them. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And remember, it has to be neutral. 6. Okay, so they were looking for bases and vulnerable bases, right? That's always been the thing. And none of those have bases or vulnerable bases, but then it eventually gets to least enemy, fewest enemies, and most population. So this has the most population, but a ton of enemies, so it's out. This has no population, but least enemies. Okay, so now we're getting to those 3 up there. This has no population, this has no population, this has no population. So there's one clear winner chicken dinner. And so 1 rebel is going to show up here in the most worthless space. But you know what? If they get enough of them there, I guess they can make a base. But that's the thing that bothers me, is why aren't they putting like mini rebels? So the action is place 1 rebel, or 2 if it has a base. Yeah, that's it. So then the next thing they do, because remember it says it's a minimum of 2 spaces, now they're going to try upgrading a base. So to upgrade a base, oh, yeah, they can just do it. So this base would upgrade, and then they gain an asset, which means they get another one of these. So that's done. So now we roll to see if they continue. I rolled a 6, and they do. So now they're going to place rebels again, and we got the same dilemma as before, except now we're dealing with unarmed, or I'm sorry, no population. So we go back to the bubble sheet. Is there any further clarification after that? For place rebels, it'd be 1 to 2 CR rebels and room for an available CR base. That's this one. Actually, they could have made a base with that one. They only placed bases where there was 3 rebels. Yeah, so they're going to place another rebel here because they want to make a base. That makes total sense. So that's done. All right, so now we go to upgrade base. Well, there's no bases to upgrade anymore because they can't go back to the wilderness, and actually we got to roll for them. So we rolled a 1. That 1 is less than the 2, so they're going to spend their chip to keep going. So now they're going to place another rebel somewhere. Where did they place the rebel? Again, it's all these unpopulated spaces. Believe it or not, the next criteria is approaching storm. So approaching storm is there, so they will place a rebel there. Okay, and then we roll a die, and it's a fail. It's ties, so they pay this to continue. Can they upgrade a base? No, but they will put out another rebel. And since there's no more approaching storms or anything, it's really just a 50-50. So that top corner versus that corner, 1, 2, 3. We rolled a 5, so the rebel goes here instead. Then we roll to see if they continue. They don't, so they're done. So That was not a horrible turn for them. Okay, yeah, that round's over. So those two are done. And now it's me and the corp. So here's the current turn. Here's the new turn. 2 flashpoint. So now they're up to 3. So they're gonna probably do the flashpoint when it's not my turn. Sorry, I'm charging up on my caffeine here. Okay. Corporation goes first. It is not critical for me. It's not critical for them. The next event is a no bueno for them. So definitely not critical. So they're gonna do a full op. The 7 is less than available security if you count the spec ops. I don't think I'm supposed to count spec ops, so the answer is no. The answer is no. The answer is no. Yes. This was a yes last time, but it's a no now. So we flip it over. So they're going to do recon using move priorities. Okay, so this is where we're going to put the move priorities to the test. So just a reminder, recon is a desert location. They can move corp units to destination deserts from adjacent spaces and from any controlled spaceports. So activate 1 rebel for each corp unit and may remove 1 security to place a corporate base. And then they may house or repair. Okay, so this is going to get tricky, but first things first, the priority here is they want us to use the move priorities, not a problem. They do want us to place a base in all destinations that don't have one, and we're not going to be able to do the house. So there's no other criteria for the move priorities other than just use the bubble sheet, right, for move priorities. So this is the corporations, and I'm going to read it because it's going to be easier. We have to select a destination. So see this? It says recon destination right here. So we're going to pick a destination, and then we have to evaluate the origins. And like, how do we move there? So is there a rebel at a corporate base? There is, right there. Why they would want to go, well, actually, yeah, this does help because it's going to reveal the rebel. So there's your priority. It's already a winner chicken dinner, right? They want to go to that location where they have a base already. So we now go to the move priorities table. We don't know where they're going to come from. So we have to evaluate our origins and figure it out. So keep sufficient forces to change no control. So this is what I'm going to argue, is that they don't need to keep any forces here. because the control's not going to change because of them. Same with here, but see, none of these can move to that location. The only one that can move to that location is the OPSEC. It is literally the only one that can move to that location is the OPSEC. So the control would not change. The next one says keep acting cubes greater than rebels in the region. There's no rebels. Origin is at support and has a corporate base. Keep MG forces greater than, keep corp forces greater than MG forces. The answer is yes. They can't. It's already less. Keep 4 cubes with a corp base. So what it's saying is no one's available to move. So I can't go after that rebel. So now we got to find a new location, if there is one. And it's almost like, so what I need to do is we need to figure out where they're going to move from, because down here is where they can move from. And so, or up there in Cordoba. So that's what we got to do. We're gonna start with that. Let's identify where can we go. So far we have 3 origin spaces there, and we need to go through our criteria. If the origin is populated and has a base, it's not in any of these places. So up there in Cordoba, they need to keep at least 2. Because they need to be greater than the active rebels, or equal. So just 1 needs to stay in Cordoba. Down here, there's nothing telling them to stay. There's no corporate base to defend, nothing. So everybody's willing to move, actually, except for 1 cube in Cordoba. That cube in Guangzhou can't move. So if that's the case, we now have candidates. They can only move adjacent, right? So we have this one, and then this one, and this one up here. So there's 4 locations. Let's go through the bubbler, figure out which one, and we're doing the recon. So rebel at corp base, none of them. A corp base, we're skipping again. There's no corp base. Coin units less than rebel forces where there is corporate forces. None of those are true. Conversion center, none of them are true. Rebel base, none of them are true. Fewest rebel forces. Well, one of them has 0. I mean, the whole point of this is a recon. And then after that, it's select at random. Okay, so recon using move priorities. How many do we move now? So the priority is this one. So let's do get 1 acting faction unit to the destination. So boom, there's 1. Next bubble, get it equal to hidden rebels. If it's a wilderness destination, get it equal to twice the hidden rebels. Get coin control. They just got it by moving there. Make sure they're greater than MG forces. Destination has no corp base and room for a corp base. They want 3 security to the destination. So the problem is I can send a OPSEC, but I can't send security. I'm looking to see how do they make their bases. They may remove one security to place a corp base. I see. So we're going to get 3 there. They at least have 1 security. There's no damage. They want at least 1 spec ops if possible. And we did that. So I'm going to move those 3 and leave the 1 behind. So that's the move priorities. And then what that means is this is going to be removed to place a base. That's what they want to do. Okay, I'm going to be able to do all of these actually because there is no AN roll. So this one, it's the same deal, except this time they're going to move all 4 because they want to have more than the rebels. They actually wanted twice as much, but that's not the case. They're going to remove 1 security to place a base. And that base plus these 3 does give coin control. Now up here it's trickier because they may have to just pick one place and not both. Which one would they pick? This one's damaged, so they pick this one. So they need at least twice as much and then a third one because they're going to make a base. So 1 goes away, out comes a base, and then for these 2, 1 has to stay behind. They could send 1 there. It is damaged. It says only send 1. I don't know what good that's going to do. Without a base, this is going to get destroyed. They could make a base with that 1. By making the base, it then becomes a vulnerable base. Yeah, because the reason they're doing this is they're reconning. So everything gets turned over. See, this one even works because they didn't have to move. They just turn it over. So all of the rebels are exposed. And they made a lot of bases. Okay, so I believe that covers the recon portion. So now it becomes they did recon, and then now they're going to do their special activity. They can't do public relations. They're going to do raid because they can't repair or house. So they have to do raid. So let's look at what raid is again. This is up to 2 spaces. They can activate a hidden spec ops to remove 1 EG troop or 2 other troops. So space number 1 has to be here because it's the only space. They can activate the spec ops to remove 2 troops. They don't have any other spaces with spec ops. So that's it for them. They could do this one, and it's for EG troops, not for the MG. So this would have had to have been there in order for them to be able to do some damage. All right, so that's that for that. They did get rid of 2 of them, which was semi-decent. And now it's our turn. So we either do the event or a limited op. We can move up to 6 security to a single adjacent space. Activate all rebels, then free assault. I feel like we had this one already. Select the maglev line and shift all adjacent spaces 1 towards active. I definitely don't want to do that one. So we're either doing a limited op, or I can wait to go first next round. I don't have a threat of orange replacing me because they have no cards in their hand. This one let me put 3 supply markers on Earth and perform an Aldrin Cycler phase. I'm going to pass. I'm out of money anyways, so passing gives me $3. So let's do that. 1, 2, 3. And then that ends the round. And these two come up, and now all three of us are in play. This is going to move it by 2, which does trigger the cycler. And this is going to cause some good things to happen. So let me get the flashpoint round. I'll be right back. Okay, I am back. So first thing that happens, all pieces in transit go to Phobos. So the population goes here. This is 3, 6, 7 supply. 7 times 3 is 21. So now we're all of a sudden up to 25 money. Then move 1 population marker from Earth to transit if possible. I must choose 5 other pieces, but not population markers, to move to transit. So here's the 3. And that's it. So reduce profits by 1 for each corp base in casualties. There aren't any. Move all satellites on Mars to orbit, so this satellite is safe again. We're still at the top. So that means we add 3 more pop. There's so many pop. And then we also add 3 supply. Increase profits by 2 for each desert with a terraforming base. There's 1. But then we have to reduce profits by 1 for each conversion center in the desert. There's 2. So there's no more profits for the corporation. Then we resolve the dust storms. So the raging storms go away. So this is gone. All the approaching storms become raging storms. Corporation's going to get screwed here. And then the number was 2. This number is 2, so we're going to roll twice. I got a 3-2, which puts, there's already a raging storm there. So that means they get to kill a unit. So we happen to have a unit there, so we lose 1. Next one, 3-5. Here. Okay, so we do all that, and now in unpopulated or raging storm deserts without a coin base, remove an MG troop and 1 security if possible. So they do have a base here. They don't have one here. And that goes into casualties. So they only lose 1. I thought they were going to lose more than 1, but they made bases everywhere else, so that's what saved them. Okay. Then the RD rebels would lose 1. And I think they're fine. There's no raging storm anywhere. In populated spaces with a conversion center, place a rebel. They don't have any. So, okay, Flashpoint is done. So now we go first. Orange doesn't have any roll because they have no cards in their hand. So we get to decide what we're going to do. We could do the full action, which would be a nice assault. We could remove a whole bunch of troops. and then red would go next. There is a population there, or I can do this thing. Place 3 supply markers on Earth, and then perform an Aldrin cycler phase, which would get another population out and more money in my hands. The problem is, like the nice thing about this is it gets the population moving, but I think my biggest threat is red attacking me, because if I do the event, that allows them to do a full action. So if I do a full action, they can do the event, which does move me to EG minus, but I don't think they're going to do the event because it's not in their priority list, although it is potentially effective. They would take 6 resources from me or remove all supply markers from transit, which either of those would hurt me. Let me see if that's even a thing for them. Supply markers. Removing supply markers is an effective event for them. So they would very likely do that and just remove our supply markers. I'm not sure it's the end of the world for me. I'm sitting on 25 bucks. Although I am going to spend a lot right now. I got to do my assault. There's no better time than now. I know I have the population sitting there, but I'm going to do the assault, especially knowing that they're going to do this. That might even be better. So I'm going to do the full-blown action. I could actually skip the special activity and force him to do a limited op. The limited op is very likely going to make him take that population, though. I actually, him taking money away from me doesn't hurt me as much. So yeah, let's do one thing at a time. I'm going to decide if I want to do the full op. The entrenched petition and transport aren't that exciting, right? So the special activities for us, they're not. The entrenched one's probably the best one because it can prevent them from damaging our population. Outside of that, they're not very exciting. So it's not a big deal to lose the special op. The issue is the limited op is the problem. So we could do the first faction OP only, which then forces him to do a limited op. But then he's going to grab that dang population. I know he will. He always does. Okay, let's assault. 3 resources per space. So we're going to do 1, 2, 3. I see 3 spaces. That's it. I have a 4th space here, but he's not exposed. I can't kill that rebel. So that's just $9. I'm at 25, so that moves me down to 16. I still have plenty of money left. So we're going to kill 3, 6, 9, and I think I am going to do the petition, because if I remember correctly, that one actually lets us put a supply on Earth. So I will do the full action plus special op. And then it says if I remove more rebels than coin, I set EG to plus and reduce profits by 2. So it's my one way to keep the corporation down. And the thing I like about this is by removing all those rebels, it really hampers their ability to hurt me. I mean, yeah, they can take that last population, and this would have been nice, because this really would have put more population on the board, but anyway, so now it's their turn. And I'm fairly certain they're doing the event, because here's why. We go to this thing and it says, well, actually, we got to check, is the next event critical for them? No, in fact, their next event is a nothing burger, a no bueno. So did I choose the event? No. I chose the Op plus SA, and is the current one performed and effective? So performed, yes. Effective, we've already determined. So now we got to see, what are they going to do? Are they going to take the money away or the supply markers? So for 6, if MG player, reduce MG resources by 6. Otherwise, remove all supply markers from transit. So they're telling us they're going to remove us by 6, is what it says, because I'm a player. I'm a player. All right, so I go down to 10. 10 resources. From my perspective, that's a victory. That's a wasted action for them. And so we are done, and now these two are available for the next action. Oops, so sorry. I have a little leg that gave out there. All right, so flashpoint of 1. Here's our situation. Parents went away on a week's vacation. So black is first. This is a no bueno. The next one is not critical for them. So pretty straightforward here. They're going to do the Op plus the SA. And then orange will go second. And they don't have the ability to do, they're not going to do this event, so they're both going to do some ops here. So let's start with the corporation. Corporation's going to possibly do some upgrades here, and it's going to be damaging. Any population markers in displaced population? Yes. Oh my goodness. This is not good for us, though. Any space with coin control, security, and damage, and may perform special activity. There's definitely coin control, there's definitely security, but there's not damage. I mean, there's damage, yes, but there's no security in those locations. That's the issue. Oh, right here. Coin control, security, and damage. So the answer is yes. So they're going to do public relations, and they're going to repair. So this damage is going to get repaired, which removes that. And just so you know, because of what we're doing, the EG goes to negative up there because of what they did there. And that's a neutral's place, so there's no move or change. And then they're going to do logistics. They're going to upgrade one base using place or upgrade bases. They have many bases to upgrade. They want to do wherever there's the most corporate forces. It would be this one. So we're doing logistics. If desert, upgrade one corp base to terraforming. Pay 3 profit per base after first. So this one upgrades to terraforming. There's not 2 or more dust storms remaining, so they're not going to upgrade more bases, it looks like. Place 4 corp units on Earth. They happen to have a whole bunch of them suddenly. So yes, those will go on Earth. Oh, one of them is going to be OPSEC. Resolve the Aldrin Cycler, but no population to transit. Because I think that's an optional thing. Let me check. It does say move one population marker from Earth to transit if possible. So I guess that's breaking the rule. That's fine. So this population does come out. This is 9 times 3 is 27, plus 10. So we move up to 37 money. And then they're gonna move 5, or we get to choose 5 pieces. So I'm gonna choose 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Your troops can wait, mister. All right. Place security using place cubes at corp bases with 0 to 3. So this is pretty simple. They're going to place, oops, place here, and place there. They all had 0 to 3. So they all place 1 cube until they can get up to 3. Well, they place 1 cube because they had less than 3. It's a 1 profit per security place though. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4. That's 5 profit lost. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, they are done. All right, so then orange is going to do limited. Or they can look ahead to the next one. Yeah, the next one's no bueno for them too. So they will do the limited op. But even for them, orange's limited ops aren't very limited. So any Sierra base in a space with no hidden rebel? No. Any available Sierra bases? Yes. 2d6 less than the number of rebels. Yes, doesn't matter what I rolled. That was a pointless thing to do. Rally. Place a base where there's 3 or more rebels. There aren't any. Then we're going to alternate placing rebels and upgrading bases again. Well, I can already tell you, this base is going to upgrade. So that's done. Then the placing rebels thing, we've done this before. They prefer places with enemy bases. So yeah, one's going to go here. And then one's going to go, because that had the most bases. So now we're tied for all these, then it's population. And when that's tied, it's actually raging storms. So when you get into that, they actually want to go here. So there's the next one. So technically we did 2. I need to roll for that third one. So the third one doesn't happen, the raging storm one. This one for sure would have been the second spot because, well, actually, the place rebels would have gone here first, and then the upgrade base would have been the second action, and then we failed the roll, and that's the reason why I can't continue. But if I were to continue, it was going to go to the raging storm. Then after that, I would have to figure out like which of these bases they would try to go for, because they do have population. I would have probably that one there because it has 2 population. All right, so they're done with the rally, and then their special activity is Purify. Ooh, this is a brutal one, actually. Up to 2 spaces with CR control and a hidden rebel. This one has no control. They can't do this. They don't have CR control anywhere. Well, okay. Let's see, what does it do? Activate a hidden CR rebel to replace an enemy unit with a CR rebel. If enemy base with no friendly units present, replace that enemy base with a conversion center and draw 1 asset card. The issue is they needed 1 more rebel here, and they could have replaced one of these bases. But as it stands, they can't. So the purify doesn't work because the criteria for it, it says 2 spaces with CR control. They do not have CR control anywhere except for the wilderness. I mean, they do actually in a couple deserts, but there's no enemy units with them. They might have wanted to put somebody here instead of there. I don't think it would have mattered. We would have just rolled a die. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So instead of here, it would have gone there because there's 2 bases over here as well. So, okay, getting back to, okay, I don't think they can do purify. So then they're going to do ransack. This purpose is to draw asset cards. That they actually need. Up to 2 spaces with damage and a hidden rebel. Activate a hidden rebel to draw asset cards equal to damage. They actually have that, except that one's not hidden. There's damage there. There is damage here, so they're going to get 1 asset from that. This one's not hidden. When I did the assault, I would have removed this one too. They're only in 1 space with damage, so they get one card. But it's better than 0. All right, they're done. Okay, these go to ineligible. And now it's red and us. We are going to get to go first. This next one is 3. So we move 1, 2, 3. We're going to be right before the flashpoint. Okay, so this one is critical for red, so he's going to pass, very likely. Shift any 2 labyrinths 1 level towards active opposition. Then place 2 rebels in or adjacent to each selective labyrinth. Ooh, that's going to be horrible. He's definitely going to be able to do a number on us over there. Except he's not going to get to go first. So he might not pass. This one, remove all rebel bases from 2 spaces with EG troops. That's a great one, except they don't have EG troops anywhere where there's a rebel base. Man, if I would have put some in the wilderness, look at that. 4 bases gone. So all this would do is get me an EG+. Corp may exploit in any 1 space with support, even if more MG forces than Corp's there. Yeah, this is not an event that they care about at all. I don't care about it either. So then it's just I do a full op with special activity, and I think I should, because it allows them to do the event, but who cares? They're going to still do a limited op either way. So yeah, I'm going to do a full op and make red just watch me from behind. So what's my full op going to be? That's a great question. I have troops everywhere. I'm securing places. I could go after some bases, like the wilderness, for example. That would be a secure action. I'm sorry, a recon action. And with a recon action, I can do navigation beacons. So I could actually try to go into the wilderness and go after all those bases. I'm not sure how much I care. Orange is close to winning the game. No matter what I do, I want to repair. So anything that's not an assault, I will be able to do a repair. So that part's the good news. I can even try to do 2 things in a space, but I don't need to do 2 things in most spaces. I do have some... All right, so I can place up to 4 troops and then pacify. So The pacification, of course, lets me do two things. I can pacify by doing 2 house, repair, or 3 resources to shift in any combination. So like there's a couple of things I can do. I can go here, for example, and get active opposition off of here, which would then remove, that would remove 8 points from red. And almost guarantee that they're not going to win this game. And not, cause they're actually 4 points away from being able to. That's one way to look at it. It doesn't use the population that's sitting there. If I use the population that's sitting there, I can at least get EG back to positive. Not that that's the end of the world. I'm so far up right now on the EG track, but see, that 10 points there is contributing to my overall score. And if more than one of us hit our victory condition, it's the one that's going to hit it by the largest margin. So I do have to be mindful of that. Now over here, I can move this to full support, and then just add a population, right? No, I can shift once, add a population, and that'll give me 4 more points. And in fact, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to do a transit. So that's going to cost me $3. And I get to place 2 units. I can rearrange units if I wanted to. It's anywhere with coin control or a base. Cordova's got a similar situation, actually, because you see they got the 1 pop there, but I gotta pick. I can only do 1. I can't do both. I'll put the troops in Cordoba because the EG forces might get wiped somehow. And then I get to pick any location. It doesn't have to be the one I activated. No, it says pacify in up to 1 selected space. So I'll just spend 3 more for this one. I have the money. And yes, I'm going to do my plan. I'm going to put passive support and then take this population and house it. I'm not going to repair the damage. I'm just going to do it this way. And so that gives me 4 points. 1, 2, 3, 4. And it flips it back to EG positive. All right, so I am done. I did a full app. Now, did I have to do, so do I do a special activity? There's a petition. Yeah, I'm gonna entrench. So I can do 2 spaces with coin control. So I will entrench this one. And just so you know, I did it wrong a few times, but you only have to protect the green spaces. If damage were to occur, it's going to occur to this space, and then the yellows just get displaced immediately. So it's almost like these populations depend on this to be functional. So if I'm protecting both of these places, I'm also protecting those. So I get to do this in 2 places. So I'm going to do that one, and I'm going to do this one. And actually, I'm changing my mind. I'm going to do this one up here, because I have 3 to protect up there. All right, so that's the entrench action. I could make a base, but I'm out of bases. There's only 3. So I can't help but realize that we're near the end of the game here. The Martian government is fun. I don't disagree. I think the church would be an interesting one to play. I think it would be frustrating because I don't get to cheat as much as the computer or the AI does. The Red Dust movement is, to me, just the antithesis of the Martian government. Like, to me, they're both doing the same thing. So I'm not as keen on that one, except the one thing about the red dust movement is anytime somebody assaults you, you get to assault back, which that part I think is cool. The ambush is also extremely effective, that ambush action. I actually think the corporation would be fun to play. It might actually be too easy. I don't know. But getting these terraforming up when that's your objective, I think you can really pull that off. And you also get to control the government forces for a large part of the game until, that control gets taken away from you. So, anyways, I'm sorry for the sidetrack there. So it's their turn. They are going to, let's figure it out. We chose the Op plus SA. This is not effective or performed. And so they won't be first eligible. Yeah, they're going to do limited op. Okay, so is there, no, I'm sorry, I have to flip. Is there 3 or more rebels in any space? Yes. 3 or more rebels in a populated space with room for an available base and no support? Yes. All right, so they're going to do this. They're going to place bases where there's 3 or more. They're going to do rally. So rally for them is replace 2 with a base. So I'm going to replace these 2, put out a base right there. Done. Then in each space they can place a rebel or replace a base. And then they may upgrade 1 to dug in. Okay, so now we got to roll to see if they continue. And they do. They rolled a 6. So now we got to do the bubble sheet for where they want to place their rebels. RD base with no hidden rebel. That's a pretty easy one right here. Actually, there's a tie. Let's go not at active opposition. They're still tied. Most population, still tied. Most RD bases, still tied. No RD control. This one has control. This one does not, so that's where it would go. And now it has RD control because they just placed that there. So that one's used. This one's used. Let's roll. They stop their action. So they're done with that part. Special activity. There's no population. So redistribute. That's an interesting one. I don't think we've seen that one the whole game. This is gather resources. So they can activate a hidden rebel to repair a house. I'm sorry. Up to 4 populated spaces with RD control and a hidden rebel. Activate a hidden rebel to gain resources equal to the population plus corp bases. Well, that's worthless for them. So only where 2 or more hidden rebels. Increase agitate total by 1 for every 2 resources that would be gained. I see. So they want to do it where there's an RD base, only where there's 2 or more hidden rebels. That's nowhere. It's absolutely nowhere. They're pretty much wiped out. So they were able to make a base, but that's it. They could still pick a space to activate, though. I know that's their criteria, but right here they have 1, 2, 3, or I'm sorry. They would have to activate a hidden unit. That's why they don't want to do it. So yeah, they don't do the action because they don't want to activate. All right, so that brings us to the end. And now we go to the next card. The next item is a 1, which is a flashpoint. So we stop, do the flashpoint step. All pieces move to Phobos. This is 3, 6, 9, 10. So I get 30 bucks. I'm at 31, so I'm at 61. So I'm going to put it on the 11 upside down. That's insane. So I'm rolling in the money. Okay, so move 1 population marker, and then we get to move 5 pieces. Corporate security didn't lose any profits. Add pieces to Earth. Three more population and supplies. I don't know why the population bottlenecks so much. Only 1 can move, but I can put 3 there. That's the part that's frustrating about that. It says move 1 population from Earth to transit. That's it. Just 1. Okay, so the corporation has 4 profits now, minus 3, so they get 1. And then for the dust storms, the raging storms go away. And then the approaching storm turns into raging. That was the only place, apparently. And this is only a 1. So 4, 5. That's right here in Tereshkova. Does anybody die? I'm looking. It requires being in a damaged place. And the orange doesn't die. They can live in the desert. Wow, everybody else cannot. Okay. So who's first? It is the corporation. And it may be an effective event. Let's check. It's definitely not critical and effective. It's not critical to the second faction. The next event's not critical for them. Yeah, they're going to do the op plus the SA. Here's the first one. Available corporate bases, yes. Assault can remove an enemy base or 2 or more rebels in 1 space. No. They're going to do recon again. See, the problem is that the question was 2 or more rebels. Okay, they can't. But the recon doesn't help them either. Because, yeah, all right. So it does let them place bases, the recon. So let's see what this does. So it says, using move priorities, place place base in all destinations with no corp base. House in one destination, if possible. What's interesting is place base is not a thing. They would have to remove a security to place a corp base. Okay, so the thing is like where they would go is where they're already at. They did this action last time. Their troops are exactly where they want to be. The only issue is that they could go somewhere else where there's no base at all, but there's room for a base still. So I'll look at the move priorities, but I just don't feel like they're going to move. So recon destination is there a rebel at a corp base? And there is. Here, and there, and there. This is the only one that doesn't have one. So it's saying that they want to move to where there's rebels at corp base. So this is where it all falls apart, because they've already done this. So I don't see any advantage to them doing anything other than I can move this spec ops, for example, here to reinforce this. That's it. Up there in Shenzhou, they want to defend their base, so they're not going to move away from that. New Cordoba, they're leaving the one there because there's a rebel. So yeah, they're not moving, folks. So I'm gonna just skip this whole move phase. We went through all this already. So then the card says, any desert without corp base is unreachable. So you could say no. Then that would do secure. Secure, though, is moving. Okay, so here's the thing. This is moving them back into the labyrinth. I don't think they want to do that either. I mean, what they want to do is they want to place their base, which they can do in all destinations with no corp base. So it says with no corp base. So why would, if I were them, I'd be putting a second base in every spot. So what they're going to then do then is secure. Then they can place a base with 3+ cubes and no corp base. It makes no sense. So what they would do is they would leave one troop behind, move into here. They would have to leave at least one behind there, minimum of 3, because they want at least double the rebels, and they have to protect their base. And they could move there. And then with New Cordoba, they could move back into New Cordoba. Except the ones in New Cordoba wouldn't move back in because they need to keep the 3 units there to protect their base. So they would have moved to these 2 locations, and then this and this would get removed, and they would create 2 bases here and here. What good that does for them, I have no idea. So, but that's their turn. And then their special activity is they could repair or house or raid using remove to remove rebel forces. And it specifically says rebel forces. So the raid action is you can move in hidden spec ops, then activate 1 hidden spec ops to remove 1 EG or 2 others. So the good news here is they can activate this one to remove this guy, so they at least accomplish that. And see, the problem here is they don't have a spec ops that's hidden, or otherwise they would do it up there. Okay, that's their turn. Then we have orange. So is the next event critical? No. Is the current one effective? No. All right, they're going to draw a card, see if they can use. It's a resource, so they're not going to use it. And would they be first eligible if they passed? No, they would not. They don't have more than 5 assets, so they're going to do limited op. All right, here we go. All right, the first one is any CR base in a space with no hidden rebel. No. Next card. Any available bases? Absolutely. And yes, there's plenty of rebels on the board. So they're going to rally. They want to place a base where there's 3 or more rebels. There isn't. Then they're going to alternate placing rebels. So again, I'm gonna make a decision for them. We went down to rolling dice here, but we're not going to. We're gonna make sure this one gets the 3rd one, because that's finally gonna let them do something. So there's that, and then they get to upgrade this base. So that does give them something. So now we got 2 things done. Then we roll. They continue. So they're gonna place another rebel. Well, they're going to place that here because there's 2 bases there. We roll. They fail, but it was not less than 1, so they're done. They did a minimum of 2. They shouldn't have rolled the first time. Well, no, they should have, because we did 2, and then that was the 3rd. Yeah. We're fine. Okay, they're done. I always get excited when it's our turn, because I don't like doing the bot's turns. So here's where we are. This is the new one. Flashpoint moves to 1. Red does get to go first. So the current event is not critical and effective. Current event's not critical for us. The next event is not critical and they're not going to go first. It is for corporation. That's actually really good for them. Look at that. Increase profits by 1 for every corp in a desert, which right now is 4. And then flip 2 corp bases to their terraforming side, which they do have 2 that can be flipped. That's huge for them. And they are going to get to go first next round. So then the question becomes, yeah, they're actually just doing the op plus the SA. So by assaulting them and removing all their troops, we hurt them so badly that their ops are actually limited. Is there 15 more rebels on the map? No. So we keep going. And then they're back to the same one they were last time, which didn't help them. Is there 3 or more rebels in any space? The answer is no. So they do actually move to a new one. That helps them. They're not in that infinite loop. Is there rebels in 2 or more populated spaces not at active opposition. I see 1. Sure. 2. Yes. Hidden rebel in any space with a vulnerable enemy base. No. There's no vulnerable enemy base with them. So the answer is no. So they flip over in a campaign. So let's look up campaign for them. Any populated space with rebels. In each space, activate 1 rebel. If none active, only if none are active. Then shift 1 level towards active opposition. If the space is now at active opposition, draw a campaign card. If the space is now at passive support, place 1 damage, e.g. minus, and -2 profits. If corp base is there. Then play 1 drawn campaign cards and shuffle the rest. Okay, that's a lot. So let's get back to this. RD base with hidden rebels. Only where there's 1 or more RD rebel would remain hidden. So what they're saying is, even though we just said yes to all these questions, they're not going to reveal this to move this towards active opposition if there's going to be no more hidden rebels in that location. So the only place that even qualifies for this, there's just 1 spot on the entire map. That's New Cordoba. So they're going to do this, and now it's passive opposition, like so, which does give them 3 points. 1, 2, 3, and they're 1 away from victory condition. So it's not at active opposition, and it's not at passive support, so none of the other stuff gets triggered. Okay, so then they finish that. It says select first drawn campaign card, but they didn't get to draw 1. Select 1 special activity. Coordinate, they can't do. Redistribute is the only one they can do. And that's that thing that lets them gain resources. So only where there's 2 or more hidden rebels at a base. And again, they can't do it. So just like last time, it doesn't do anything for them. So they are 1 point away from victory conditions, although I'm winning by a larger margin. But it is interesting how they're still putting in a fight, even though I feel like I got them mostly wiped out. And defeating their bases doesn't necessarily help me. It's the opposition. I got to be able to move the stuff. And the more interesting thing is the Martian government. I do have the pacify action, but it's once in 1 space. Like, it's not like I can go to multiple spaces. The only time I can do that is during the dust storm, which does spend a lot of my money. It's very interesting how that works. Little girl, stop with the whining. All right. Yeah, so it's our turn. So we can do a limited op or the event. And I did not like this event. So I could pass, but I would possibly get passed up if I pass. This is just a corporation card anyways. So let's do a limited op. Limited op, of course, means we can only do it at 1 space. And a part of me is like, well, maybe we should do a train because then I can do a pacify and shift spaces towards support. I have no troops to deploy, so the train does me no good. I can secure, I can recon, I can maybe assault. But remember, I told you I just want to hold my spots. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just spend 3 resources. I have plenty. And then we're going to pacify this location here, and I'm going to remove the active opposition. So that removes 8 points from red. They're not winning this game. They're not even going to hit the victory conditions. So we got them down and out. So there you go. One location. That's all I can do. And that's it for me. So now orange and black are moving up. This is the new card, and there it is. The end game is going to happen. So there's no more flashpoint movement. So all those population markers that are sitting on Earth are just sitting there. This is the final turn of the game. And we'll go ahead and do it, but I won. I don't, there's nothing else to even talk about here. Because black created all those bases, orange is not close to winning. I know they were able to get these 4 bases here, and they got a little bit of momentum going, but the bases are going to make that move to the right. Corporations have a critical event, so they're going to do this. So we said they would do this, so that, yeah, they're going to flip and flip and take for profit. So that would be their action. They're absolutely going to do that. And yeah, that's it for them. So then all that's left is orange. Since the event was taken, they can do a full action. So I go through. Is there any Sierra base in space with no hidden rebel? Nope. We hit that one every time. Any available CR bases? Of course. Yep. So they're going to rally again. So they're going to place a rebel and upgrade a base. There's no bases to upgrade anymore. So, you know, where are they going to place their rebel? Well, they'll place another one here. And then they'll place another one here because there's two bases, right? So now they roll their die to see if they continue. They don't, but it's a 1, so they spend their last action, and they're going to place another one. Now they're going to go where there's 1 base. Well, they're going to go here to protect their own bases. So now we roll. It's a 2. Their turn is over, and now they purify. So this they actually will do now, the purify. So that is going to help them. Let's go to purify. 2 spaces with CR control and a hidden rebel. There's 4 of them here. So they now have CR control. And then there's 3 here, so they have CR control. That's the key difference. And those are the 2 spaces that would activate. If enemy base with no friendly units present, replace that base with a conversion center and draw a card. So they would replace this base with a conversion center. I don't think it matters anymore, but we'll draw the card. And then here, they will just replace the unit. They can't do the base yet because there was still all those hidden. Can they replace a hidden unit? They do have to activate one of their rebels. I don't know if they can touch the hidden unit because it's hidden. Although they do this whole conversion center thing. So the whole theme behind it is even though he's hidden, he goes and gets cloned or whatever. So we're going to replace him. I don't think it matters. Turn's over. The game's over. Okay, so that's it. Now the dust storm triggers. So we get out our sheet. And thank goodness we don't have to do all those move actions. So first thing we do is corporate casualties. There's nothing to resolve. Earth government casualties, nothing to resolve. Displaced population penalty, nothing to resolve. Then if any faction has met its victory condition, the game ends. I have, everybody else hasn't. Game over. If I were somehow not past the victory conditions, you then do all this stuff. And right here, if there was a third dust storm round, play amends immediately, and then victory is determined. And I think it's just whoever's closest to their victory condition if no one's there. So like the margin, like I'm 2 away, but you're just 1 away, so you win. That kind of thing. Obviously, if we would have done this resources phase, there would have been 2, 4, 6, 8 profit minus 4. So there would have been 4 profit for the corporation. That 4 profit would still not have put them where they needed to be. We knocked red down, so they got screwed up. Orange. Now, orange is a different animal because we have, and you can just look here to count. See, there's 8 bases for black out there. So 3 for us, that's 11. 4 for them is 15. So this enemy bases goes up to 15. And then that's CR controlled plus bases. Well, we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So they were able to move it up to 8, but it's nowhere close to what they needed to win. All right, I know it was rocky at first because I was learning as I go. I cannot promise that was a perfect game, even in the remotest ways. I very humbly thank you for doing this journey with me. I hope it helps somebody. I think that this game deserves recognition and for people to give it a go. I have a dog I've been ignoring the last 24 hours, and she is desperately wanting some attention. You can see her in the background there. So say hi, Mindy. All right. Thanks for watching. As always, stay awesome.